Hey everybody, it's Joe from the Board Game Mechanics. Today I'm taking a look at a game called Guardians from Plaid Hat Games. Before I give you some thoughts on it, let's go to the table and see what it's all about. So we're taking a look here at Guardians. And before I get any further into this, I want to let you guys see this box here. Look at this box. How cool is that? Nice art, really cool looking. It's a standard LCG size box. I did talk to Callin Flores, the designer, and he told me that the LCG insert for other LCGs from like Broken Token does work in here. So that's really cool that if you get this and you want to organize the game, you can do that. So the game, let's just start off with the setup. When you set up the game, the first thing is these location cards. So you get these tarot-sized cards, and there are 4 locations that are out there in the game. And each location has some unique characteristics about it. So why don't we take a look at a location card real quick here. Bring that up here. So the courtyard here, it's one of the more standard locations in the game. It has a point value here. This point value is how many points that this card is going to be worth when it scores. So we'll talk about how you score a location later, but then also has some text below there on some directions that are going to happen when you do score this card. This one you draw a card. Other ones have things like you have -2 power here, or just different things that happen at these locations that make them kind of unique when you play cards down there at them. So a game that is kind of similar to this game in some ways, but it's not a super fair comparison, is Smash Up, where you play down cards at locations. The same thing is going to happen here. So this is kind of a game that would be in progress, where we have these 4 locations out, and then there's 3 heroes set up on each team, that the heroes are on one side or the other of the table, and you're fighting to control these locations. And so as you go to these locations and try to control them, an example would be, let's go ahead and look at the courtyard here again. If I'm unopposed at a spot and I'm in the control phase, which is one of the phases that we're going to talk about here in a minute, I would slide that little flag token over to this side, one spot, and if that little token is on top of my team's icon, then I get to score this card during the scoring phase. So I guess the next thing we really need to talk about are the heroes. The heroes that you get, the way how you get your set of heroes is you draft them, but then every hero has a set of cards that come with it. So if we look here, this is an ultimate card. That's one of the things that comes with each hero. So an ultimate, and on both sides, it's a little bit different. This is the side where it says, hey, you can still do this if you get the right amount of charges and get this powered up to use it. Flip it over. Hey, it's been used. It's black and white now. So an ultimate is something that's really, really powerful, but you only get one use of it in the game. And it's similar to like games like Overwatch, or similar to games like League of Legends, where you do power that up and use it. Then these are the cards that would come with this hero, as you can see from the corner here. So there's reaction cards, which kind of happen as an instant almost. They can happen just as when the effect on the card says it can happen then. So there's reaction cards, which is one type of cards. There's utility cards, which those are kind of neat because they just kind of play, and they don't have the requirements that some other cards have. So they are just kind of a quick like little boost. They don't seem to be quite as powerful as some of the other cards in their effects, but their timing and how quick they are and how cheap they are is kind of making them powerful. And then you have action cards. And then action cards show these 2 symbols. This symbol here means that you have to have an action that you can spend to use it. This means that your card has to be readied, which would mean not exhausted, not tapped, not in a situation where it's unable to be used. So the action cards come in there, and then also we have the utility and the reactions. And so we're getting into some jargon here. Each one of these heroes, though, has a little deck like this. Then you also have a just kind of standard deck of actions that you shuffle together with those cards, where you have things like barriers. And you have things like intel, where you get to draw 2 cards from your deck. Then you can reposition, move a hero to another location. Okay? But this one's different. You're able to move heroes most of the time, but this is you ready a hero, then you can move it. So there's a little extra benefit on this card by using the card. The other advantage you're going to get from using cards, we talked about having to charge up those ultimates. Man, my camera does not want to focus very well. These lightning bolts here, when you see that icon on a card, that means that you're going to put one of these lightning bolt tokens onto one of those cards, one of those ultimates. And that's going to let you charge up that attack and then use it eventually. So pretty neat how these cards work. And you have to balance between that and doing the other actions that don't involve cards. So here we're going to take a look real quick. Let's go back here and look at this. The control phase is where you start at. That's where if you have a readied hero there and the opponent does not, you score one. You move your token one space. We talked about that. The ready phase is where you ready up any exhausted. A more common term that is trademarked and I don't use obviously is tapped. Any tapped heroes get turned back, or any exhausted heroes get turned back. Then the action phase where you take 3 actions. Oh, sorry about that. There's the actions listed here where you can attack, you can move to another location, you can draw a card, or pay an action cost. Okay. Then you do the scoring phase. So if you again have that flag on top of that icon, then you get to score that location. That's finally followed by the draw phase. The draw phase is the at the end there, you get to draw 1 card back into your hands, but then make sure you don't have more than 8 because that's the hand limit. So let's take one last look at a hero here. This is a different hero, Whiplash, kind of a cool one. She has the text on there of exhaust, which means that when she uses that ability, she has to turn. Okay? When you attack, you have to turn. So that 3 there in the red means that her attack value is 3, her defense value is 10. If you knock a hero out, so that does happen. You get hit points equal to your health. You get knocked out. You don't get pulled out of the game entirely, but you get knocked out. Your card goes back to your area. It doesn't go back into the next ready phase. But then the other opponent gets to move their little flag. So we got the location flags here. They get to move their location flag 2 spots over because you knocked a hero out, or your hero got knocked out. First person to get 9 points. So we talked about that. Courtyard had a value of 1. This Monument Park has a value of 3. You get any combination of these cards that exceeds 9, the game ends then. You are trying to be the first person to get above that 9 there. So a really neat game. It's a game that you can learn really quickly, but you can play it a ton before you master it. So that's roughly how you play the game. I think you might have a real rough overview of how it works. But I know that there's a lot more to this game that I didn't get to hit. There's a lot of intricacies that happen in the cards that I didn't even touch on. So I don't know. I would really strongly suggest that people get a chance to play this one because it doesn't take more than about 10 minutes to learn, and then you can play it in 20-30 minutes. So I would really strongly suggest that you get a chance to play this one on your own to see if it's for you. It is for me though, and here's why. So let's get down to these reasons here. First of all, I really enjoy these head-to-head card games. Usually these head-to-head card games come in the form of a CCG or an LCG. The CCGs do cost a lot of money, and you have to open a bunch of booster packs, which is fun, but it costs money. And then there's thousands of cards that you have to go through to figure out how to customize your deck and make it the best thing possible. LCGs, living card games, did modify that to where you have all the cards available to you, but you still have this really huge base of cards. In order to put in your deck and make it the best thing possible, you're dealing with that. So some people really love that. They love being able to totally customize their decks to the nth degree. This one's not quite there yet. I think there will be more heroes coming out, and there'll be more things coming out that make the game more interesting to customize. But at this point, the customization options are a little bit minimal. But I don't mind that because I'd rather spend my time playing the game instead of customizing the game. So that to me is a positive, that this game is something that you can get a real good customized deck feel for, a unique deck in a matter of a few minutes. So the other game that really does this, they do shuffle building, I think is what they call it, is Smash Up. So this game, it does get a little bit of comparison to Smash Up in that there's like those spots you're trying to control, and then to build your deck, you're just basically shuffling together some cards to try and make a stack. So the comparison's pretty well stopped there though, because in Smash Up, it's kind of just a bunch of silly little cards that are funny and fun, and it's a fun game, but they don't have strategic depth like you have in this game. So this game, there's a lot of timing things that you need to worry about. There's a lot of things that you need to think about for when you play certain cards. The other really cool thing is those phases in the game. They happen in a very specific order, and that is referenced all the time on the cards that at this phase, this thing happens. So that way, it just keeps the game from being broken. It makes things feel really smooth. And just the way how things score in certain timing and the way how effects hit at certain different times, that just give you the most full impact and make the game stay smooth, but impact the game in a huge way is really cool as well. So the actual gameplay of the game is a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing this. My son, who is 15 and a huge Overwatch fan, really loved this one. So definitely this game does feel like it's from the Overwatch universe almost, in that you have these heroes duking it out and trying to fight each other and control these points. So if you love games like Overwatch, where you're playing as a hero and you're trying to, take points and really fight, this is a really cool card game kind of concept from that. It's got kind of MOBA feels to it. It's got kind of an Overwatch feel, like I said. Just kind of a neat, different feeling. So I don't know. I think there's a world of potential for this game, and I think it's going to be really great. So let's take a look here at some final thoughts I have on where I'm at with some pros and some cons. So pros, the biggest pro I have is that it's a deep and quick game, or it's a deep but quick game is what I have here. So this game plays really quickly, but there's a lot of depth in there. So like I said earlier, how you decide you're going to play the cards in certain orders, when you're going to burn those ultimate attacks, when you're going to do all these different things, really, it gives you a lot of meaningful choices inside the game. So even though the game is quick and plays in a short amount of time, and it's really simple to learn, there's still a lot of gameplay in there and a lot of depth in there. So that's one thing, and that segues into my next point, that this game is really easy to learn. It's basically just saying, hey, you're going to do 3 actions. Here are your choices. And then we're going to go through these phases. So the little player aids that you get as well really help make things streamlined on learning too. So you just hand someone the card and say, let's go through this. Let's talk about it. And then the cards are really well written, self-explanatory. So super easy to feel or to learn, but then it feels like it has a lot of depth to it as well. So I feel like if you played this game 50 times, you'd have different things happen in every one of those games that would just feel like, oh, wow, I've never seen that trigger that before. I've not seen these 2 heroes go together in this way. I think you're just going to have a lot of repeat playability with all the different depths and choices that you're going to have with playing this. Each hero does have a kind of unique feel too. So the heroes that you put in there, they have a personality. They feel like they have something that they offer other heroes don't offer. And that's pretty neat as well. Sometimes when you have these games with different factions or different elements, that part feels a little pasted on. So it's like everybody has just an attack and defense number, and sometimes they're big attack and small defense or whatever, but then their actions aren't that different. Well, this one, those action cards they have definitely feel different. Some players, some characters can manipulate where things are at, or move different characters, or move themselves with like extra free movement kind of things almost. And then other characters are able to do things at other locations, manipulate other locations they aren't at. So all these like different ideas are things that aren't in the base set of rules. The base set of rules says this shouldn't be able to happen, but then they have these little special abilities that kind of break those base rules. And so with that, I really feel like these customized characters are unique feeling. At this point, the only con I have for this is you don't get mini cards in the base game. But that said, I am absolutely 100% positive that there are expansions planned for this, and that there will be a big card base at some point in the future. So the amount of cards you get in here, if you're a Magic player or have ever been a Magic player, you're going to be able to get this game for the price of a few packs of cards. And you're going to get way more play out of this than a few packs of Magic cards for sure. So it's a good value, I think, overall. But there aren't a whole lot of cards in there at this point. And I do look forward to there being more expansions and more packs available. The characters that I went over in the beginning deck on the side that I was mentioning, Valkyrie was a really fun character for me to play. I just really felt like her powers were really useful on a team. I just think that this is something where, for me to give a proper review of this, I would have to dedicate a series to this where I looked at each hero and I felt like I was able to play this game, 2-3 times a week and say, this is where this hero comes in useful. And I think there will be somebody who does that. I'm not sure that it's going to be me, even though I do really like this game. So where do I land on this? Well, I'm going to say right now this game is approved or accepted by the Board Game Mechanics at a 4 out of 5 wrench rating. So that means that I think that 50% of gamers out there would really enjoy this game and potentially benefit from owning it. If you're somebody who likes strategic head-to-head card play, this is a game that I think you would really enjoy, and I think you'd really benefit from having in your collection. That said, I do want to just give a couple quick plugs on just general things. First off, if you think that you have tastes that match the Board Game Mechanics, all of our Board Game Mechanics accepted games are listed in an album on our Facebook page, which you can find just by looking for Board Game as a compound word, Board Game Mechanics. The other place that you might be able to hear more about this game in particular is at our podcast. So really do like Guardians a lot. Would suggest it to at least half the players out there. And it's really great for you if you like things like Overwatch, if you like head-to-head dueling card games, if you like customizable games, because there is some customization in there. This is one to keep an eye on. I think this one's going to grow. I think this one's going to be around for a while. I think that we're going to see expansions and competitive play and all kinds of stuff. So for a guy whose first published design is this, I think he did an excellent job. So I will say this also in conclusion, we did have have a promotional copy of this game sent to us for reviews. However, I am positive that every time I give an honest review, I don't say, oh man, they sent me this one, so I'm going to be kind. They know I'm going to be honest when they send me stuff, and so I am being honest here as well. I think this is a great game, though, and I've gotten to play it several times because the gameplay is so quick, and every time I play it, I feel like, man, I wish I could have done that differently, or I really enjoyed when that happened. So it's something that I think is really a lot of fun. With the holiday season coming up, this might be something to buy for that grieving Netrunner fan who doesn't get to play Netrunner anymore, or is looking for, you know, something to fill that void of Netrunner in their life. This is just a cool game. It doesn't feel like Netrunner with the asymmetrical stuff, but it has cool control of waypoints. It's kind of got the same head-to-head feel of maybe Netrunner, but definitely it feels like gamer smash up is the best way I can say it mechanically, with a cool Overwatch theme. Just a good game. I would suggest it to again, 50% or more of the audience out there watching if you're into these kind of card games. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Keep gaming and check out the rest of our stuff. You'll have a couple tiles here pop up. One's a subscribe button. The other one is a video that YouTube has custom picked for you from our channel. They think you would like to watch this video. Maybe you do. Give it a click. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it, and keep gaming.